If you are listening to this podcast, it means you're searching for someone who understands you, someone who gets you. You are yearning to be understood and to belong. Welcome to the Someone Gets Me podcast, where we help smart, talented, and sensitive people navigate an often insensitive world. I am Dianne A Allen, your host. My roles as ambassador, author, speaker, and intuitive mentor for bright and talented people are woven into each episode. I have the experience and knowledge to educate and inspire, as I have been there and I understand your unique intensities, sensitivities, and challenges. Welcome. Tripping over joyful moments. Hi, friends. It's Dianne here to talk about joy today. Because so often in our world, as intensely sensitive people, we have a very heavy experience often because there's so much going on and we feel so much. So today we're talking about joy. Now, I believe that joy is our natural state and that anything other than joy that we're feeling is somehow an altered state. And I am clearly aware that most people in this world see it differently than that. They think joy may be synonymously with happiness, though I don't think so, are something that we have once in a while, and the rest of the time we're working or trudging along or doing life or numb or something. But see, I see it differently. I think joy is our natural state. I think your heart's desire, your vision, the thing that gets you going, that is your joy manifesting in the world in a way that is healthy and good. So like I race sailboats, and you go to any yacht club after any regatta, after any race, and there are people in their joy talking about the race. The hands are moving, the descriptions are going on. People are talking about their experience on the boat, the other boat, the whole thing, because they're in that aligned state of the thing that awakens and enlivens their being. And then, of course, you can go to a conference where there's a lot of geeky scientist people, which I do that too. And guess what you hear? The most amazing geeky science conversations. And they can get into the minutia of things that most of us have never even heard of, but they love it so much. And without that love and passion and joy, they wouldn't be driven to do the great things they're doing. And so then you can go to any situation and find the like-minded people coming together, and everything changes. The shift happens when you connect with another person or group that gets you, that is aligned with you. Someone Gets Me is not an accidental name, by the way, for this podcast. But so we're tripping over joyful moments all the time if we allow ourselves to. The joy of a gourmet conversation. Just yesterday, I took a new friend out to breakfast for her birthday. Now, it meant more to her than I ever realized that somebody would do something like take her out to breakfast for her birthday. Because not too many people in her world do that, I guess. I didn't know that till after we were there. But it was a joyful moment. The conversation was fun. The excitement was fun. The exploring the local town was fun. Both of us were enriched by it for tripping over the joyful moment. So what joyful moments are you tripping over? I notice them when I see amazing flowers. And I'm walking along, whether I'm with my dog or by myself, and there's maybe a little tiny flower in the weeds in the grass. Or maybe there is a little plant growing through a crack in the asphalt. To me, that's joy, rising up, the beauty of nature, transcending what man has done to Mother Earth by putting that road down or whatever. So there's joyful moments everywhere. And as a visionary, as an intensely sensitive human being, it's sometimes tricky to trip over the joyful moment, because things can be hard or difficult, or we might be anxious or depressed. We might have compassion fatigue. We could be burned out and tired. Because so many of the people that I work with, they start out by telling me they're just tired. I know I have felt that. And I know I've said that. I'm just tired. And it's not just I didn't sleep well that night. It's a long term of giving and dealing with the world and all of its weirdness. Tired. So one of the ways to turn around that tired and that empath distress disorder or that compassion fatigue or that heaviness is to seek joyful moments. So I had a business mentor once, and this is the phrase he would always say, are you tripping over your joyful moments? And so I wrote a little post-it note and put it on my monitor in my computer. So whenever I was working on anything, it would be there right in front of me. I am constantly tripping over joyful moments. I have taught it to many of my clients. I even use a hashtag joyful moments when I post on social media a pretty flower or something that brings me joy. Because sometimes when we have a string of joyful moments, it completely changes our day. And sometimes just one joyful moment will totally change the course of the day. So sometimes tripping over a joyful moment means intentionally coming outside of our comfort zone. I remember many years ago when I was working as a clinical director in a substance abuse treatment center, and I had this one person, and she was very serious, um, and rightfully so. She had a lot of responsibility. There was nothing wrong with her seriousness, but the problem was there was all seriousness, and she wasn't peppering it or sprinkling it with joy of any kind. Life was heavy for her at that time, and so at some point, I said, I know. Why don't we break this pattern? So she always wore darker clothes, like dark brown, but mostly black. And she had beautiful hair and she was very pretty and always dressed really nice, but it was always black or heavier colors. And after all, we're in Florida where, there's neon and sunshine, right? So on the beach, even. So I gave her the homework to come in the next time she was seeing me in all fluorescent colors and totally outside of her comfort zone. She probably didn't even really know where to get them at first, right? And I said, do it. Just come out of your comfort zone. It's just between us. Just do it and see what happens. Well, I wasn't sure if she was going to do it or not. Next time I saw her, all neon. She even had the like cool little flip flops that had the little flowers on them. And she had all this neon on and she did her hair different than usual. And it shifted her. She realized that there was way more and she didn't have to stay heavy all the time. And it took a little while, but now, many years later, like 22, 23 years later, we're still in contact and her life has much more balance and joy in it. We broke the pattern by coming out of the comfort zone in a meaningful way with a focus. We broke the pattern that then gave her the space and the opportunity to run with it, which she did. Because sometimes we can break our pattern and then we run back to the old way because it's familiar. That's how come domestic violence sometimes can keep going. That's how come sometimes not so great patterns of behavior keep going, because we as humans sometimes go back to what's familiar, even if it's painful. So we want to trip over joyful moments and allow the opening of that joyful moment to launch us forward. So every time I'm out, I was out this morning actually before the sun came up with my dog walking in a very quiet, peaceful time. And North Carolina has way different birds than Florida, and I've only been here a few years. And so we're out there, and all of a sudden, the birds started singing, a few of them. And then I watched this bird fly, and it was just daybreak by this time. And it was blue, but it wasn't a blue jay, and it had this brown chest. And I learned it was a relatively rare North Carolina bluebird. I didn't know that. So I got to sit there in that joyful moment. And then I came home and researched who he was, right? By the pictures. But because that's what visionaries do. We have to research everything and check it out and dive deep. But it was amazing. And I just stood there in the joy of that bird and that bird's friend. There were two of them. And it was beautiful. And it set my day into this awe and love and experience of nature herself, of the world, and of life itself. I've never seen that kind of bird before, and it was really magical. So when we pay attention to the beauty that's around us, the natural world, the other people, the situations that bring us that deep joy, all it is reminding us of our own natural state. So when you're having a great conversation with somebody or you're involved in something that just really gets you going and you're aligned, it's reminding you that that is who you naturally are. All the rest of the shenanigans, those, my friends, those are the altered state, not the joy. So we've been trained wrong. Those of us who are a little older and younger generations are starting to figure it out, right? We've been trained wrong that joy is something that's fleeting. That joy is that fire within you that says, I want to do more, or I want to do something good for the world. Joy is that part where you hear the children say, I want to help the world. I want to help others in a way. It's the joy that keeps the scientists doing their research to help make things move forward in whatever field they're in. It's the joy that keeps the writers writing, the painters painting, the sculptors making great art. It's the joy that keeps musicians creating their beautiful music for all of us to enjoy. I have a client who is not only a creative artist, she's a painter. She's beautiful work. And but she also helps people in other ways. She's got a very multidimensional life, and it's beautiful. But one of the things we were talking about one day has to do with joy, and she loves hearts. And so we were talking about how whenever you're painting or making soup or loving your family or cooking or swimming or exercising or hiking, right? Whenever you're doing any of those things, joy is your natural state. So put love in it. So like when I paint my house and I have the roller going up and down the wall, I say love, 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 and I have love in my heart. And I imagine me just painting literally love everywhere. So I said, think about your art that way. When you're painting and you're painting from a place of love or joy or connection, then that vibe, if you will, that love is going into your art because that's who you are expressing. And then imagine the person who is viewing it and feeling it and experiencing it. What will they feel? The love and the beauty and the connection to your art in their home, probably, or maybe their office, but probably in their home. And every time they see it, they will feel the love. That's a tripping over a joyful moment. I have another client who has Airbnbs, and this person's really cool. She makes cakes for people that are special. Sent me one once, and it was one of the best cakes I can tell you that I have ever had and eaten ever. It's made with love and care because this person really wants the people in her place to have the best experience, better than even being with family, right? That's joy coming through her into a unique creation so that someone else can have a great experience and she can feel fulfilled. So all the visionary leaders that I work with and have worked with have allowed themselves to unlock the lock that usually was put on us when we were really little and we didn't know, to unlock the lock to the joy in teaching others, creating something that's beautiful, sharing our craft, connecting with others of like mind. It's everywhere if we allow it. So when we're anxious or we're depressed or we're distracted, that joyful moment might feel elusive. It could even feel like it's not there. Like, what joy? I'm depressed. What joy? I'm tired. A lot of visionary leaders come to me because they're just tired. So the beginning steps to allowing that spark to be reignited, because it's not out. It cannot be out if you're still alive. So it's still in there, even if it's very little, is to start to fan the flames on it. And sometimes to fan those flames means get out of our comfort zone. It means doing something a little different than we're typically used to doing. That's all. It means allowing ourselves to listen to our heart's desire and move forward. It means stretching a little. Stretching means going a little bit beyond what we think we can do, right? In any arena that brings us joy. So for me, it's nature, it's the moon, it's the water, like waterfalls, and being out on the water. For me, it's also gourmet conversation with a like-minded person on whatever the topic is. So I love to quilt, and I'm relatively new at it compared to some of my friends. And I have other friends that do these elaborate quilts, but I love to talk about it because it's kind of new and exciting for me relatively. And it's fun. And it's not a life and death situation like a lot of my work has been over the years anyway. And it's fun. And I get to talk sometimes with my neighbors that I have nothing else in common with other than the fact we live on the same street and they have a dog too. It brings me joy to smile and wish somebody well. So there's all kinds of ways that you can trip over joyful moments. So write yourself a little Post-it note, use a pretty color now, and write, I am tripping over joyful moments. And see how your life is changed for the better. That business mentor that taught that phrase that I just have embraced for many years now, I'm getting goosebumps telling you this, changed my life. Changed my life in lots of ways. And I am forever grateful for that person. And I'm only not mentioning this person by name because this person isn't doing that kind of work any longer. So it would be not the smartest thing. So anyway, it's really beautiful. And so I was reminded to trip over joyful moments, and I'm reminding you, I'm passing on his legacy. Trip over joyful moments. Put a sign up. Remind yourself. When you're stuck in traffic and you're all frustrated, look for something joyful. When you're frustrated with something else because you're sensitive and that's how you are, look for something joyful. It'll shift it. Sometimes I look for the joy in the frustration, or if I'm angry about something, I just start laughing at myself because I find the joy in the fact that I can feel my emotions fully and I'm not medicated. That's joyful. So let yourself experience the joy. Trip over those joyful moments. If you need help or you want me to remind you of all the kind of fun, goofy joy things, make sure you make a get to know you call appointment. And on Zoom, I will show you some joyful things because even what's in my office surrounding me brings me joy. I visually have reminders and I can teach you how to do it too. And I'm happy to. So in the meantime, friends, keep tripping over your joyful moments. And remember to put your face to the sun so the shadows fall behind you because you're a rock star and you're here on purpose with a mighty purpose. So go out into your life, trip over all the different kinds of joyful moments and see how it changes things and allows you to be more of who you're meant to be naturally. Until the next episode of Someone Gets Me, this is Dianne saying, be well. Are you tired of searching for someone to understand you? Join our Facebook group, Someone Gets Me. In this group, you will be able to connect with others who are intense, sensitive, smart, and talented. I share my insights and teachings, and you can connect with others in a real, authentic, safe forum. So join us today. Someone Gets Me.